Alright. Oh, I just smacked my monitor. You know what? I'm gonna leave that in the story time so people know I just smacked it. Hey everyone, Lazy Panda here. If you guys can't tell, I now have a new microphone, so I should sound a little bit, clearer. I don't sound as obnoxious or I sound as distant, because back then with my other microphone, I would have to be over here because it would pick up so much that it would overwhelm it, and then it would just be so loud in your ears it would start to distort itself. It would be really bad. But here we are now, so I should sound nicer, and hopefully you guys are listening to this, whenever. Usually you could use it for a car ride, maybe in the background. But this story time is about the time I got assaulted while at work, and this was a fun day, so I'm gonna tell you guys all about it right now. If you guys want more of these, there will be a playlist of these story times. Anyways, let's dive on in. So this story time takes place about a few months ago now. I want to say 4 to 5 months now. During this time, it was one of the warmer days of the year, but it was also pretty bad. Only because when we were working where we had no AC. The AC was broken, so we were working with this hot food while we were sweating our butts off. It was so bad. And I'll tell you the place, but not tell you the place. Basically, we're gonna call it Burrito Ding. I know what that sounds like, but it's because I'm not trying to catch a case. So if you guys know what that is, Burrito Ding is what I'm calling it. And if you guys are offended by it, you can leave right now. I will wait. However long. Okay. Anywho. But yeah, so this was also a day after school. So I was already tired. I was already exhausted. I didn't want to do anything. I wanted to be at home. I wanted to sleep. And I already knew that the AC wasn't working. So I was like, great, now I have to go through this. I don't want to, but I'm going to have to be working with hot food and I'm sweating. And all these customers are just going to be annoying because the customers at this place were obnoxious. I was in a ghetto area. I'll admit it. It's very ghetto. It's not very safe. I have many other story times like when my life was threatened over a piece of lettuce. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. But that's for another story time. Anywho, before I spoil that, I should continue with this story time. But the way I get to work is I go in there by walking. For me personally, it's around a 13-minute walk. It's not because it's that long. It's more because I'm trying to take my time and trying to be okay, I'm going to do this job. I'm going to make it through and I'm going to finish it. I'm going to do what I have to do just to get through it, get that money, go away, come back again, because it's great. It's fun because I want to totally be doing that all my life. So during my walk, I usually put in my AirPods and I usually just vibe out to whatever I'm listening to. And this was kind of already a boring day. I didn't want to go anywhere as I previously stated, but I had to. So I had to make the most of it by hyping myself up with whatever music I was listening to, I guess. And then I finally made it to the building. I forgot to mention we also were very much closed in the dining room only because we were always understaffed. And it's not surprising that they were always understaffed. Again, that's another story time, but if anything, this will show you why. This is one of the many examples as of why we were short on staff, okay? It was bad. So before I knocked on the door because it was locked, I had to just tell myself, I was like, you're gonna get through this. It's gonna be fine. It's one shift. You're gonna get over it. You're gonna go home and you'll be at peace. You'll be good. I did the one thing I didn't want to do. I knocked on the door. And I waited for about 10 seconds, I'd say. Usually that's when it would take. Then my boy, I'll call him. So for this case, we're going to call him Tim. Tim came over. He opened the door, gave me a fist bump. He's like, how you doing, man? I was like, I'm tired. I'm just trying to do me. And he totally understood as well. It's not like he was some 30-year-old man. He was only a year older than me. That's pretty much it. So he totally understood where I was coming from. Then my other coworker, we'll call him Aiden. He was also there too. They are my two favorite coworkers that was working there. They were the ones who showed me the ropes around the place. They were the only ones that actually gave me practice on the food line. And they were the only ones that would actually just try with me. They would actually give me the opportunity to try things. If it weren't for them, I would have no idea what I'm doing. At this point, I was manager material. That's how much they did for me. But I digress. But yeah, I dap up Aiden. He's like, how you doing? I said, just trying to make it through the day and all that. And he's like, yeah, totally understandable. So then I clock in for my shift. So we had this manager and he was older. So he did things kind of the old fashioned way. So he was more roughed up and everything, which is totally fine. People grew up in different ways. I had nothing wrong with him. He was also Hispanic and everything. So a lot of the time he would speak Spanish and I have no idea what he said. So there was that. But also, this manager was married to my GM. If you guys don't know what that means, that's basically the general manager. That's the person higher than the manager. The general manager makes sure that the restaurant is basically running the way it should, while the managers worry more about the co-workers and such. So the GMs would worry about financially and stocks, resources, all that stuff basically. Then we have my other coworker, we'll call him Bill because why not? He was also there too. He was the assistant manager, but he was the GOAT as well. If you guys see this, shout out to you guys. So I talked to everybody. Then my manager comes up to me. And as he comes up to me, he's like, hey, how you doing? Yada yada. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing fine. And to make me feel better, this is what this man does. He decides to make me feel better. He puts his hands around my throat and shakes me back and forth fast. Now, I don't know if that's like an accustomed thing for anybody, but why would you do that? Let alone at a workplace? He was lucky I didn't sue him, and I know what you guys are gonna say. I should have. I didn't think at the time. As I said, I was tired. I had no idea what was going on, but I was like, this man's just choking me out. I couldn't process what was happening because I was so baffled. I was like, there's no way this man just put his hands around me like that at a workplace that I just got to that day. And he and I were on good terms. Nothing was wrong. So the fact that he did that, I was like, why would you do that? That makes no sense. But after he let go, I just walked away quietly because I was so stunned at what just happened. I just got assaulted. That makes no sense. Why does that happen why? I get that we're at a ghetto workplace, but can we act like normal human beings? Like, we don't just choke each other out. That's stupid. But yeah, Tim and Aiden both look at me surprised because none of us were expecting that. You don't do that to your coworkers. It was probably because I was younger and I was smaller, so he thought that was like kidding around with me when, as you guys can probably tell, it was not funny. It was not something to kid around about. I'm also a minor, mind you guys. I was only 16 at this point. I'm now 17, but think about it. You don't do that. But yeah, I went through that shift. They just kept talking about it. They're like, I can't believe he did that. And that was the same way. I couldn't believe it either. But yeah, I left work that day, and then I told my parent months later, and she goes, what? And the moment she said that, I was like, I should have either taken action or spoke to him about it. More likely take action, but it's all good now because I quit that job. And you guys are going to figure it out possibly in the next story time. So hope you guys enjoy that one. But before that, moral of the story, don't assault people, let alone don't be touching people without their consent or at a workplace, because that is unprofessional and that is inappropriate. People like to have their privacy and don't like to be choked out like I was. I hope anybody who does that or plans to do that doesn't do that. And if the person that did that is watching this, I hate you. That's as much as I could say about it. I hate you. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. I'm sorry, this one was a little darker. I was just trying to give y'all like more of a wait, what? He really did that kind of story. So yeah, but I hope you guys enjoy this story time, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Good night and goodbye. I got assaulted by an old man because he was not having a good time in bed with his girl, and that shows.